It's nice to see a good crowd here in the morning. And welcome to the first Vision Zero Task Force meeting for the city of San Jose. My name is Raul Perales. I'm the council member for District 3, the downtown and surrounding neighborhoods. And I will be your task force chair. And my co-chair will introduce herself in a little bit, but that's council member Pam Foley for District 9. This meeting has been long in the waiting for those of you that are participating and have been interested. I want to say thank you for your patience. We originally had hoped to convene earlier this year, but as you know, the pandemic has delayed everything, and we're happy to be here finally today. I want to first speak on why we are here. Last year was sadly the deadliest year on our streets with 60 traffic fatalities. And this year, even with COVID-19, we continue to see fatalities and injuries on the road, and we as a city must do better. On February 11th of this year, the city of San Jose, the council adopted the Vision Zero Action Plan, which serves as a framework to eliminate traffic fatalities and significantly reduce severe injuries. The 2020 Vision Zero Action Plan focuses on 6 priority areas. One of these areas calls directly for the formation of a task force to bring together stakeholders at the county, city, and community level to help guide Vision Zero strategies. And I hope that with all of you, we can truly make meaningful changes that will ultimately save lives. So thank you for your willingness to serve on this task force. And I was outside momentarily. You'll have to excuse me if you end up hearing some background noise from my son. Outside had way too much of a glare, so he may join us with some audio every now and then. Okay, at this time, I'd like to go over the expectations, goals, and the task force charter. The task force is intended to do the following: providing quarterly traffic fatality and severe injury reports, reviewing quarterly traffic enforcement given to the top 5 KSI causes, acting as liaisons to the agencies and organizations that the members here represent, and guiding implementation of the Vision Zero Action Plan. We have a little bit of housekeeping. As you've seen, this meeting is being recorded and it will be posted. All panelists have been muted by default since we have a large group. So please use the raise hand function in your toolbar in order to be called on, and make sure you mute and unmute accordingly. Attendees will have an opportunity to publicly comment on the open forum section, and this is due to the large number of panelists and limited time. And speaking of limited time, we will do our very best to stay with the prescribed times on the agenda, and I will do my best to try to guide us in that. And finally, because this is a city authorized advisory body, this group is subjected to the Brown Act, and we unfortunately do not have time to brief this group on the Brown Act, but for those who do not understand the Brown Act, please do contact our DOT staff to ensure you are brought up to speed. Thank you for that. Okay, and now we will move into our introductions portion, which will be an opportunity for everybody here to introduce yourselves. And as you do, please make sure you unmute yourself and provide an introduction in the order of the list that we have here. I would like to first introduce my council colleague and the vice chair for this committee, Councilmember Pam Foley. Allow her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Councilmember Perales. I'm very excited to be a part of this Vision Zero task force. I asked to be appointed to it because it's important that we make our roads as safe as possible and reduce the number of injuries and fatalities on the road for all of our pedestrians, bike riders, walkers, and handicapped people who are walking around and trying to navigate the city and hopefully get people out of their cars. I'm Pam Foley. I'm as I already said, and I represent District 9, which is the Cambrian, South Willow Glen, Thousand Oaks, Erickson neighborhood areas, just to name a few of the areas in my neighborhood. And I'm very excited for the work that we will be able to do on this task force. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll allow everybody to just go down in the order. You can see the order there on the left. From the City of San Jose departments, we'll go down the list from transportation to police to fire, and I'll let you just intuitively to jump in.
I think that's me, Councilmember John Risto. I'm the Director of Transportation for the City of San Jose. And first, really just want to thank both Councilmember Perales and Foley for their leadership to help us take this big task on. Also, really appreciate and want to thank all the other organizations and staff from all the departments in the city for their attention to this important matter and actually attendance at both the task force and all the working groups that we will be setting up. Safety is a top priority for the city and the department, and we really appreciate all of you to help us make the best decisions on where to invest our resources to make the transportation system safer. With me at attending this meeting from the Department of Transportation is Laura Wells, our Assistant Director, Lily Limsow, Deputy Director, Lam Cruz, a Division Manager, Jesse Minceroth, who is going to be the DOT lead on this project, and then Anna Lee. So I just want to thank everybody for helping us really get this kicked off and really help us to make the system safer. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Deputy Chief Heather Randall, San Jose Police Department, and I oversee our Bureau of Field Operations, which includes our traffic enforcement unit. Today I have Sergeant Greg Connolly also here. He is part of our traffic enforcement unit as well. And moving forward, we'll be looping in Lieutenant Dave Anaya, who oversees our traffic enforcement unit. We obviously have been very busy with fatalities, and this is a priority for our department. And we're glad to be a part of this task force. Moving forward, our priorities will continue to be the enforcement portion as well as that education piece. And we're very happy to be partnering with everyone because we know that obviously the police department isn't able to do it alone. And so I think this is a great partnership and we're looking forward to being a part of it. Thank you.
And do we have someone from our fire department on right now? I'm looking at a number of pictures. I don't see. And if not, then we can move to Public Works. Maybe similarly.
Okay. Sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Kimball with the Department of Public Works. Our division reviews and issues permits for private development projects in collaboration with our review partners. We try to support the Vision Zero goals by working with developers to implement infrastructure improvements when possible on development projects. I can see us helping to help prioritize some of the speeding and pedestrian safety improvements for the Vision Zero goal. And we just look forward to working on the task force. Thanks for having us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Neil Ruffino. I'm the Assistant Director for the Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services Department. Very glad to be joining everyone on the Zoom call. Our department is, I feel, well embedded in the philosophy of Vision Zero. We provide services for everyone in the community, 0 through 100 plus. And a lot of our efforts, I think we're going to be in well alignment. This Vision Zero aligns with our age-friendly city strategies, our overall philosophy of getting people healthy and outdoors. So the more people we can get onto our trails and out on there and walking and riding in our public spaces, we are always looking for ways to make it accessible and safe. So thank you for that.
And this is Ryan Doolin.
Hi, and I'm Sal Alvarez with the Office of Economic Development. And so the role of our department, I manage the citywide banner program. So all the Vision Zero banners you see on the street, I work closely with the DOT staff that installs them and develops the process to get them in place. And then also, I've been a partner with DOT on other initiatives around wayfinding and things like that that supports pedestrian movement in the downtown, and as a pilot working on right now. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Sal. And I heard Ryan trying to jump in from our fire department. Thank you, Ryan. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, council member. So this is Ryan Doolin. I'm the Deputy Director of Fire, and I'm sitting in for Chief Sapien, and we're just happy to be a part of this as our service goes through all of the city of San Jose, just keeping our apparatus to be able to respond to emergencies as quickly as possible, but keeping the public safe on all of the intersections and the thoroughfares throughout the city is number one on our initiative list. So appreciate to be able to participate in this task force.
Great, thank you. And then I think we're down to the housing department.
Good morning, Reagan Henninger with the Housing Department. I'm the Deputy Director. The department, our work in general, we support vulnerable populations such as people experiencing homelessness and extremely low-income people, low-income households, seniors in the production of affordable housing. Some of the work plan items that our department would closely align with and prioritize is the injury prevention for older adults and injury prevention for people experiencing homelessness. Thanks.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I think I skipped over planning. Oh, maybe for good cause. Oh no, there's Michael Brio connecting now. Okay, we'll come back to Michael, and we'll jump over to, once he's fully connected, we'll skip over to VTA.
Good morning, Angelique Gaeta for VTA. I'm the Chief of System Safety and Security, and obviously the roads are very important to us because that's where we do our work. So we focus year-round on the safety of our customers and also the safe operations of our fleet, both on the bus side and the train side. We to dedicate some efforts to this particular task force. We have ongoing education. We've got a county study that's coming up for us and hopeful to partner with the city of San Jose in any studies or consultant work that you have done as well. And we constantly have campaigns going on year round, trying to really work with the public and let them know how to use and move around our system safely. And there's a particular emphasis on that, as you're probably aware, in the month of September around rail. But because our rail is at grade, it's even more important for us as pedestrians come either to use it or in contact with the area around our rail. I also have Lauren Ledbetter here. I'll let her introduce herself quickly. She'll be assisting me in the work on this task force as well.
Hi, Lauren Ledbetter. I work in the County Transportation Agency side of VTA as opposed to the transit side. I manage the bicycle and pedestrian program, and a lot of the work that we do in terms of planning countywide for bicyclists and pedestrians, as well as work that our programming department does for developing funds and distributing funds, transportation dollars to cities around the county, looks at crashes and crash history and prioritizes areas that have a history of crashes in order to help mitigate that. I'm looking forward to working with this group, and there's several ways I think we can collaborate.
Thank you very much. And we will go back to Michael Brio. I believe you're on now.
Hello? Can you hear
Yep,
me?
we can hear you now, Michael.
Okay, good. One of my three devices is working.
I'm Michael Brio, Deputy Director of Citywide Planning. Let's see. So, I mean, traffic injury prevention isn't a direct part of our work, frankly, but I think it's about, I guess, what we're working on with DOT is sort of the longer term goal of creating complete streets and more urban communities that will make it safe for all users, including especially bikes and pedestrians in particular, being a bicyclist and a pedestrian myself. Thank you.
Thank you. And there was no magic. Sorry, I recognized I was blending into my yellow background with my yellow t-shirt. So I switched to a fake, nicer house than my house. So we have from the county now, roads and airports.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Harry Freitas. I'm the Director of Roads and Airports for the county. We operate the county's roadway network as well as the expressways. Also the unincorporated roadways in the county pockets within the urban area of San Jose. We are adjacent to and on a number of the priority street network as well as the Vision Zero hotspots. We are thankful for the invitation to participate in this process. I'd also like to introduce the county's traffic engineer, principal engineer, Anath Prasad. He's on this call. He's a panelist. He'll fill in for me as necessary. We do have a robust traffic operations system, and we have a lot of data, and we're really looking forward to sharing that data and starting to get an understanding of what the situation is on our roads and how they fit into the Vision Zero within the boundaries of San Jose. So thank you very much.
And we can go down the line there with our county representatives, public health.
Hi, good morning. My name is Rhonda McClinton Brown. I am the branch director for Healthy Communities branch in the Public Health Department. And we oversee our active and safe transportation program, which includes parks, safe routes to schools, and all means of Vision Zero, supporting work, and all work that ends to increase active transportation and minimizing unintended injuries. We have a bicycle program, so we're happy to be here. I'm looking forward to these meetings.
In our corner.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Michelle Jordan, and I'm the Chief Medical Examiner Coroner for Santa Clara County. Our office oversees deaths which fall under our jurisdiction to include motor vehicle fatalities. Our office is tasked with rendering cause and manner of death and will be providing important fatality data to the task force to include fatalities involving homeless deaths. My administrative service manager, Josefina Covarrubias, and I are looking forward to contributing this important data and collaborating with the task force. Thank you so much.
In education, is Dr. Juan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Marianne Dewan, County Superintendent of Schools. At SCCOE, we work with schools throughout the county to support them in their efforts on safe travel to and from school. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. California Walks.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Nikita Sinha. I'm with California Walks and the Walk San Jose program. We serve as pedestrian safety advocates in the city of San Jose with a vision of San Jose as a city where all people are able to move safely under their own power. And in terms of things on this list that are of particular interest, I would say injury prevention for seniors and people experiencing homelessness, safe access to schools and transit, as well as the use of quick build along the Vision Zero priority corridors as an interim solution in fatality sites. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to have you with us. And then our Bicycle Coalition.
Good morning, everyone. I'm John Cordes. I'm the Santa Clara County Advocate for the Bicycle Coalition. Our purpose is to create healthy community, environment, and economy through bicycling for people who live and work in San Mateo and Santa Clara counties. We envision a community that values, includes, and encourages bicycling for all people for all purposes. Our goal that we're focused on is trying to get 10% of trips to be done by bicycles by 2025. To achieve our mission and vision, we work with cities to create safer streets for people that are for people, with a focus on equity and diversity. Thank you.
All right. And then lastly, AARP. And is Fred on? I'm sorry, I'm looking at all the little pictures here. Okay, he does not look to be on right now. We have Fred Buzo representing AARP, and thank you to all of our task force members. Appreciate it. And thus far, the brevity, we are ahead of schedule. So gives us a good opportunity to get into some discussion. And before we do move on, I'm excited to share that we do now have over 50 attendees participating with us today. That is great. We also want to be able to manage time. So if you are interested in speaking during our open forum later today, please do make sure you raise your hand. I know I see already a hand raised. That's great. We want to get you in line so then that way you can speak during our open forum. And if you're on the phone, if you're calling in, you'll press *9. So then that way that's the equivalent to raising your hand. And thank you again for joining us. Okay, well, we now move on to our reports and coordination section. And then our first presentation here is going to be coming from Jesse from our Department of Transportation. And this is on our task force overview, fatal and severe injury review. Sorry, take it away.
Oh, yeah, thank you for the introductions, and thank you everyone for your introduction. It was great to see everyone be the introduction and join into this first task force meeting. I will be giving these presentations, but primarily I'll have some other people joining for the second one, and also joining from DOT for Q&A, Lily Limsow, who's our Deputy Director. Everyone can follow along on the agenda, which was posted. And there's a number of attachments as well, one of which was this presentation, and also the work plan, which are some of the things that we're hoping to work on. We won't get to all of them in the first year, as well as our Vision Zero action plan, which passed in February. It's San Jose City Council, and our most recent information memo, which was dated June 30th, which was a report that you can also, was one of the attachments for this meeting, and that you can download on our website, which is on the bottom left of every slide, visionsrosj.org. So Vision Zero task forces, why are we creating this? We are bringing a best practice to San Jose. I'm not going to read most of my slides, but this one I will. Vision Zero task forces are primarily comprised of city and county government decision makers. They build and sustain leadership, collaboration, and accountability. They allow us to leverage resources, opportunities, and work plans across our organizations. Among the 40+ Vision Zero cities that are tracked by the Vision Zero network in the United States, at least 12 of them have task forces, and they are the cities that have made the most progress for the most part on their Vision Zero initiatives, including New York City, San Francisco, Washington, DC, and others. Vision Zero task forces have working groups, and we have created working groups. So the Vision Zero task force working groups here in San Jose are staff level within the city departments and county agencies, and they report into the main task force. San Jose has created a data and an outreach working group, and they had a joint kickoff meeting Friday, September 11th. So now I'm going to talk about the data that is underlying Vision Zero. And I think one of the most important things to say when you talk about Vision Zero data is that these are people. And I think a lot of, and also recognizing that in the audience for public Vision Zero presentations, including this task force meeting, are very likely families affected by traffic fatalities and severe injuries. So while we're talking about data here, I definitely want to acknowledge that we're also talking about people and neighbors. So traffic fatalities in San Jose have grown a lot in the last 10 years. And you can see here that in 2010, there were 29. And then in 2015 and also 2019, there were more than twice that. Specifically, the period from 2012 to 2015, you can see the most growth. And that is also the period in which most US cities that have Vision Zero initiatives adopted theirs. So the first one in the US was adopted in 2014, and 2015 is when San Jose adopted Vision Zero. And then this action plan that this task force was created by, is adopted in 2020. But the data that we're showing here, this is data that's given to us directly by San Jose's police department. And I will add that there is some data that we know about that we don't have. And hopefully by working together through this task force, we can more officially work together to combine that data. The data that we know that we don't have that's not in this chart here is from the VTA, because the VTA works with the county sheriff on their property, which is inside the city of San Jose. So we're aware of some of the data that we don't have. We've created this slide recently to look at 2020 and its cumulative traffic fatalities by month. And then you can compare that back to the last 5 full previous years. So 2020 is shown in the dark red line, and you can see the slope of the line from month to month. So for example, you can see that the biggest growth was between February and March in 1 month. And that when we were in March, we were at the level that we are in years that are sort of considered top for that month. But as we have gotten sort of later into this year so far, we're actually at the moment on relatively low compared to the last 5 years. However, September is not complete, and also the year is not complete, so we don't really know where we're going to end up. But at this particular moment, it looks like it won't be among the highest years. Among the fatalities that are very unusual this year, there were 2 that were very unusual. And they are 2 bike-on-bike fatalities that occurred in the parks area. So basically occurred on trails, and the trails are in the jurisdiction of the Parks Department. So that created an opportunity for us to reach out to the Parks Department, which is something that we would do basically through a task force like this. And it's not something, it's unusual for us to reach out to the Parks Department and want to work with them, but this is very unusual. I can tell you that I've worked in this field for a number of years, and I've never heard of bike-on-bike fatalities before. I've heard of injuries, but not fatalities. So we are working with the Parks Department now, and we're looking at ways that we can make improvements in those locations. And so that's been a good collaboration. Traffic fatalities by month. So this is basically similar data to the last slide, but you can look at fatalities compared to the 5-year average of the previous years. Again, noting September is not complete, but you can also here see that March is really unusual. And we thought about March a little bit in making this slide, and we were wondering if it has to do with the beginning of shelter in place or working from home. And actually, most of the fatalities are from the very beginning of March. So at least at the moment, we don't think so. So traffic fatalities by street user type. This is to say, what was the person doing at the time of the fatality? And so the largest group, particularly since 2017, are people hit while walking. And I think most people in San Jose would acknowledge that that's not a particularly common mode of transportation. Most people drive. And so, you know, in the past, when motor vehicle occupants have been the biggest group, that doesn't seem necessarily a huge surprise. But now that people hit while walking, pedestrians are the biggest group, that really helps us figure out where we should be devoting our energy. And I also want to acknowledge that people hit while cycling or on motorcycle, they're also very overrepresented groups because those are also small mode shares. So you can see here that those are a lot smaller by comparison. So then if you have a switch from 3 in 2018 to 7 cyclists, for example, in 2019, it's just a very volatile small number compared to the bigger ones, but they are still overrepresented. So if we look at those same groups, I just want to just pause as I go into the next point, which is looking at these same groups by their median age. We already have pointed out that pedestrians are the biggest group here. So as we move into this next slide, it's interesting to see that they also have a high median age, which is age 58 in the last 5 years of data. And so they're the sort of oldest median age group. And then cyclists are also a high median age, and you can see that in recent years, their ages have trended upward. But as I mentioned, for example, in 2019, we had 7 fatalities involving cyclists, and 2 of them occurred in one crash, and they were both older. So that's among the reasons that you'd see sort of a volatile number like that you'd see it change a lot. But I think that the most important point about this slide, if you combine it with the last slide, is that we really need to do outreach to older adults and the older adults who are walking and cycling. We have worked with children a lot to date. We have a program called Walk and Roll, which is under the Vision Zero umbrella, and it's what a lot of other cities call safe routes to schools. So it's great that school-age children are not very visible in this chart. So I'm going to move into our sort of newest slide and talking about this type of data, which is coming up in one moment. There it is. So this is the first time that we've shown traffic fatalities as a list. And this is just the current 2020 year from January 1 to September 21st. And in that period, there have been 32 traffic fatalities. And to compare it back to the last slides where you can look at the share, in this data, the motor vehicle occupant and the pedestrians are tied at 41%, and cyclists 4, so that's 12%. And some of the things that we sort of jump out, we've used the same color coding, is that you can see, for example, in May, that we had a lot of people hit while walking, and also the cyclists, and you can see the 2 bike-on-bike fatalities that occurred on trails, which were in May and the beginning of June. Some of the things that also jump out are the question of, did they occur on what we consider to be a Vision Zero corridor? Because we have a map that we have on our website of where most fatal and severe injuries cluster. So in this data, we have about half on Vision Zero corridors. And typically we have a little bit less than that in a full year of data, it's closer to 40%. So this is a little bit higher. But the the Vision Zero task force is really called upon to look at this data. That is, that is what people want in the creation of the Vision Zero task force. And so within DOT, we are creating internally a fatality review board, which gives us the opportunity to look at all of these locations in a lot more detail. And it also gives us the opportunity to reach out to other departments and agencies, which we want to do through the task force as we identify where there are opportunities to work together. So for example, we have the example I already gave about working with the Parks Department on trails, because already in 1 year of data, that's something that jumps out. as we look back into the previous years of data, which are not shown on this slide and would be too much to show in a presentation of this type right here, you know, we do imagine that we will find other opportunities to work with other departments in the city and the county. One of the ones also of note is that of the Vision Zero corridors, 2 of them are under county jurisdiction. So that is one of the relationships that we want to work on in, you know, working in deciding ways that we can work on this data and this issue. Looking to where fatal and severe injuries, which as the council member mentioned are referred to in the Vision Zero as KSI. This is looking at the San Jose districts. And since I know that some of the people in the audience are not City of San Jose residents, I will just say that the top ones in here in this list, you can see in the total column on the right. So District 7, which is south and east of downtown, District 3, which is downtown, District 5, which is east of downtown, and District 6, which is south and west of downtown, are the highest ones that, you know, jump out in this consistent look year by year by council district. We've also prepared this other new slide, which is looking at the injuries by quarter. So in specifically, this graph shows KSI by quarter. So you can see where 2020 in blue compares to the 5-year average of the previous years. So in explaining this slide, I will say that obviously Q3 is not done yet, but also Q3 does not show injuries, and that's why there's no number for Q3. And the reason for that is that the way that we get the data from the police department, it's great that we have this relationship that we can get it directly, but in terms of the technology of inputting the data, it takes about a quarter for our non-fatality cases. So we have a full-time staff person in the DOT who takes the reports from the police department and puts them into our database. And so we're only reporting injuries through the end of Q2 here, which is June 30th. And we move into the task force next time in our next quarter meeting, we'll then have the data from Q3. Let's see. So now I'm just gonna touch on the work plan for the task force. We have divided it into 2 sections. One is the long-term multi-department work. I'll just touch on what these are, but also just that we think that these will be on our work plan for a while. So as part of the Vision Zero action plan, we have a RFP that DOT is putting out to bring on the services of a consultant who will help us analyze the data that we have compared to other data that other departments and other county agencies may have, but also other data types that may not even exist yet. So there's a lot of data types that are still being developed. And, you know, obviously we're in Silicon Valley. There are a lot of tech companies that want to, you know, tell us about data types that aren't necessarily out there yet. So I'll talk a little bit later on about one of the ones that we're working on now, but is called near miss, which is to basically talk about the cars or the vehicles that don't necessarily hit people but may get close. So another one is that we are really interested in sharing and linking data, and that is complicated. But basically, the idea is that we would like to bring a best practice from San Francisco, which in San Francisco, they took the police data, which you know, they had from PD, and they linked it to trauma data from hospitals. So in San Francisco, there is one trauma center, which is San Francisco General, so they worked with them. And they linked them and found that severe injuries, a high percentage of severe injuries are not in the police data. And that led them to redraw their Vision Zero corridor network. And basically it showed that there were parts of town that did not go to the police as much. And so it, by doing that, they were able to see more through the data that they didn't have, but they had to sort of link together. And I think that initiative took some time. So we're interested to see, working with our city and county partners, if that would be possible to do here. We're also very interested in equity data, and this is an existing data field, but also a very sort of growing data field, and we'd like to work with our city and county partners to sort of have a better understanding of how we can use that data. Looking to outreach, we are creating an RFP also to do outreach and engagement for Vision Zero, and that too will create a lot of opportunities to work with our city and county partners, co-branding, but also figuring out how to get to important audiences. Many of the ones that have come up already are older adults, people experiencing homelessness, parents of school-age children. There's a lot of them. Distraction is the terminology given to basically smartphone use. So that also is a really broad area, and there are a lot of ways to work on that. It could be advertising through the Vision Zero Outreach RFP, or it could be working with tech companies on, sort of the way that their app works as a user interface for people who are on the road. So in this slide, there's a lot of text, and I'm not going to read through it, but I just want to say that our data, our understanding of data through the data working group informs our investments, and one of the key investment areas is outreach. So many of the items on the left inform the items on the right, and we do not, we're not going to be able to get to everything that's on this list in our first year, but we are interested in working with the task force members to figure out which of these items to prioritize. So I think that there'll be some opportunity to come back to this during Q&A. And I want to lastly touch on the Vision Zero Task Force quarterly themes. So in this meeting, we are primarily meeting each other. And in our next meeting, which will be in December on the 10th, and we'll send around the info for that later, that meeting we're planning to have be about outreach. And also, reporting in from our new working group for outreach. And then our March 2021 data, that will be about data from that working group. And we're hoping for the 4th meeting in June to be about the city-county working relationship. So at this point, we are going to move to questions from the task force itself. And so for people who are in the task force, if there's any questions they want to ask, they can raise their hands. Separately, this is separate from when we go into open forum later for the public. So yeah, so if there are any task force members who have questions about this so far, please raise your hand using the raise hand button. We have a first question from John from SVBC.
Hello, Jesse. Thank you for taking my question. I was hoping there would be some budgetary information in this presentation. When will we see information about how much money the city is willing to invest in creating and implementing Vision Zero?
Thanks, John. I think that the budgetary information to date is the amount. So, when the Vision Zero Action Plan passed in February, there was an amount of money that was budgeted, which I believe is 6.78 million for the first year of work. So that is the amount that is currently committed to Vision Zero through the city. And part of that plan and part of the slides for that were to talk about, we have to go back to city council to figure out the budget for future years. So that has yet to be committed to, but that is the plan. I hope that answers your question.
I was more hoping for some kind of a summary about how the money, that 6.8 million, has been spent so far. I mean, do you know on a quarterly basis how much is being spent on the outreach versus data or any of the other initiatives?
Jesse, let me, if I can jump in here for John's question.
Please.
Yeah, John, the aggregation of expenditure we don't have with us at this moment, but we are in the next portion of our presentation. We'll give a status on each priority areas that we've made progress on, and I'll give you a sense of where we've had our staff focus our work. And in addition, we have grant projects that are underway that some of that efforts have been funded by. So maybe at the next meeting that we can provide that kind of report.
Thank you.
Okay, and I see another hand too. We have Lauren Ledbetter with VTA.
Hi, this is just a clarification. On the slide where you had the fatalities in a tabular format, you had an acronym in there that I'm not familiar with. It was FYZ. It was associated with pedestrian crashes. It's in the under the primary collision. FTY, collision factor. What does FTY? Does that stand for fatality or something else?
Thank you for asking about that. That stands for failure to yield.
Ah, thank you.
And the other acronyms that we used in there are driving under the influence, and hit and run is not really a collision factor, but it's mentioned in a lot of reports.
Okay.
And XW is crosswalk. Yes.
So failure to yield is specifically referring to the driver's failure to yield to the pedestrian.
It's really, it can be either way, but it's, I wanted to make it very concise in this. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I don't see, oh, there we go, Ryan Dillon.
So this is Ryan from Fire. Jesse, do we have any data to actually that shows where government vehicles were involved in these, where we have a little bit more control of the training or root cause of these? Is that data broken down into any of these involving vehicles or government employees, whether it's county or city of San Jose?
We can do that. We do have that data if it's in the police report. That actually, I think that it's really worth bringing up those types of analyses that our partner departments are interested in. We have a few ideas of types of analyses we would like to do. And now that we're going to be looking at all of these, particularly the fatality cases, more closely, I think that is definitely one that we can do. In the 2020 data, I believe one of these involves an ambulance, which is number 29. So that does happen sometimes. Just to give an example.
Sorry,
oh yes, go ahead. Next person. One of the things that I've talked about in earlier meetings, not task force meetings, but when I've presented to City Council, is that there's a report on the rise of pedestrian fatalities in the US that's called the Governor's Highway Safety Association. And the big question in that report is basically, why have pedestrian fatalities risen so much since 2009? And the two factors that they cite are the growth in SUV sales, which hit pedestrians higher, and distraction, so smartphone use. And the SUV one is, I think, the type of analysis that we would be nice to be able to do, but is actually also somewhat complicated because the definition of an SUV has changed over the last several years. So I think if you think about the types of analyses that we could do, such as that type, whether it was a government vehicle, you know, those are things that we may find, and that there may be opportunities, as you mentioned, to do education about through the departments.
Okay,
Thank you. Go ahead, Sal. Oh, sorry, Ryan, if you weren't done,
so,
please. I apologize.
No, that was it. I just wanted to see if there was any linkages with the government component, and where we have, I think, a lot of control, like training and all of the other components that we can kind of look at, do a deeper dive in. But thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. I apologize for cutting you off there. And Sal, I cut you off twice. I apologize. Go ahead.
That's okay. So but part of looking at all the data and the dates is, are there any seasonal trends, like when springtime, more bikers are out? Are there things related to time of day, nighttime, daytime? And then also you referenced some infrastructure and facilities here, so sidewalks and crosswalks, things like that. Are there any other kinds of things that we can sort of get a better sense of? Are there any trends or logic that we can kind of think through the data here?
So your first question about seasonality, we do see a spike in fatalities at the beginning of daylight savings time. And last year, we created a new campaign that we called Fight the Spike, which is to basically alert people to that. And we placed changeable message signs on our Vision Zero corridors in, I believe, 5 locations twice. And we also worked with the police department to do some targeted enforcement on some of those locations in the hope of working on that issue. But I think that, you know, that was just the first year that we did that, and we may have new ideas to add to that. And we do intend to do that again this year. And your second question about are there things that we can study to find out the locations where you know, these are more prone to happen? As a very general answer, yes, that is a great idea of data analysis. And it is a data analysis that we have thought about in the context of doing the RFP for the data consultants who can help us learn new things. And we also can look to the research done by other cities. So we work through a national consortium called NACDO to work with other cities, DOTs and other cities to find out what they have learned. And through my previous work in other cities, I can tell you, for example, that certain street movements by drivers are more, have higher potential for severe incidents than others. For example, I know from my previous work in New York City that left turns tend to be more severe, hitting a pedestrian than a right turn. But, you know, I think it would be helpful here to see if we find the same things. We may. And, you know, for example, through the data research that we're doing around near misses, we may be able to validate that here through those test intersections. So that's a good example of that. But yeah, I think that through data analysis, there's great potential to find out things that you know, are true about specific locations, and also things that may be true, generically speaking, about intersections that are grouped and look similar.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other hands, I'll jump in here with just a couple quick questions myself. So number one, can you go back to the slide that showed the age, I believe, of yeah, there you go, sorry, the median age. So this is the actual individuals that were killed, correct?
Yes.
And so we see median ages here. Do you have similar data that you could produce a slide on the demographics of, say, for instance, the drivers of the vehicles that, or like, you know, could potentially be obviously the individuals. Some of them have been the fatalities as well, but a number of them are not. And so do you have that data as well?
Yes, we did do a preliminary version of that, sort of a rather high level version of that, but basically who were the people driving the vehicles that hit people. And so we put that data into the June 30th memo, and it is broadly speaking men driving who are ages 20 to 60. So, I mean, that's kind of a wide age swath, but that is the type of data that we want to give to the outreach consultant. And also we expect the outreach consultant to ask us also for more specific versions of that, which are, you know, in what geography. I'm sure they'll have many more questions for us. So having that data though is really useful for thinking about who our audience is, for example, in marketing outreach.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking was, you know, if we're looking at, you know, doing outreach, because a lot of our victims, a lot of the individuals that have died are, you know, of a certain demographic. And so we want to focus the outreach. We similarly, I think, would want to do the same if we see that there's a, you know, a particular demographic of individuals that are behind the wheel on these incidents. And so just, you know, that was the purpose. And so it looks like you're thinking the same thing there. And then in regards to the broader conversation on data itself, I'm just curious, because it seems like there's a lot of transfer. You described one, which was between the police department and yourselves, and that there's not a seamless transfer of the data there. It requires an analyst on your end to take that and produce it into what we can see here that's usable. I'm curious on, you know, just the openness of everybody in the organizations here represented on this task force, not just the police department, but the different departments and agencies that may have data that would be useful for us, in the willingness to share that data. And then maybe Jesse, you can kick it off, just kind of start. What is it that we think we need more of, or do we have an idea of that now on, you know, I guess the ease of retrieving data that would help?
I guess I can begin answering that question, but it would be great to hear more from some of the other partners on the task force. So I mentioned when I talked about the top level traffic fatality data that we know that we don't have the fatalities that occurred on VTA property. And so that is probably that's probably the most obvious type of data that we know that we're not counting in this. And we have talked to VTA a few times, I would say. And so, you know, VTA is aware that we're interested in this data, but it would be probably useful for them to, if they'd like to comment now, or, you know, if we'd like to comment in the future about the steps that it would take for them. And then the other type of data that I've mentioned that is a county data type is the public health trauma hospital data. And we've also mentioned through the early meetings about the task force with the Department of Public Health that we're interested in that data. But the data, you know, we need to figure out exactly how that data is handled and what the conduits for it are, and what the issues would be to get it and link to it. So, for example, there are 3 trauma hospitals in Santa Clara County, and, you know, they're obviously operated separately. And so where does the data from them go? Where is the repository for it? How do we work with that repository? And then how do we in the future link it? So if any of the 2 entities that I just mentioned would like to comment on that, you're welcome to. I obviously understand that this may not be the right moment, so that's fine as well. So.
Yeah, Rhonda?
Yes, hi. Couldn't unmute myself. I just had a very, very, very quick question. If these slides will be sent to us at a later time, Jesse, or is there a place online where we could access them. There's some new information on here that I found to be really interesting. And I just wanted to capture that so I can have it for my memory moving forward.
Yes. So because of this meeting being subject to the Brown Act and the Sunshine Act, they are available through the city clerk's website. The agenda is there, and the agenda has links to 5 attachments, one of which is this presentation.
Okay, thanks.
And then Rhonda, if you wanted to chime in, or Angelique from VTA, and if it's not completely clear in regards to just sort of some of the data that Jesse is seeking, or our Department of Transportation may be seeking, and ultimately now, I think what the ask would be from this task force would be to try to accumulate all the relevant data that the task force could utilize. If you wanted to comment or could comment now on regards to just maybe the willingness or what the challenges may be to gather all that information in one usable location.
Sure. So we had talked, as Jesse mentioned previously, and we have a couple of different platforms that we run the data through, and we provide that data on a high level to our board members, and we actually use it to track areas to target for either further training of our operators or more public campaigning. The plan was to work through the working group that's set to gather the stats and see exactly how they want the information or what is exactly requested, because we run it a little bit differently. And since the last discussion a couple of weeks ago, I've had my staff run through the one of the platforms that we use. It's called Industry Safe, how we track all of the incidents, to come up with options of searches or queries that we can run. Separately, I've talked with, as Jesse mentioned, if it's on VTA property, it goes through our supplemental law enforcement team, which is a sheriff's office, and they keep stats differently. So they're looked at one way for regulatory purpose as we report out to the CPUC and the FTA, and then they're also looked at differently as we report out to TSA and other safety and security type regulatory agencies. But we're happy to work through the working committee or the working group. The only caution that I would provide is that obviously we can't get into the details of the incident in terms of identifying or releasing any private information, but on a higher level with statistics, we certainly can gather that for this group.
Thank you, Angelique. And I think that's similar with the police department, what the data they're presenting as well. So I know it's a process to sort of either redact or be able to get that, the right information and not too much. Rhonda, did you want to chime in as well?
No, I didn't have anything to add yet at this time.
Great. We look forward to the opportunity of this task force being able to compile all the relevant data. And Angelique brought out a good point as well, and this could go towards Harry at the moment, Harry Freitas, but I think it would be the county roads as well, just ensuring, right, when the sheriff's department is involved, or other jurisdictions that may be taking some of the data. As Jesse has pointed out, there's a couple of different locations, from hospitals to VTA, right, to the sheriff's department. And if we want to get a real good picture, then we need to be able to have all that information. Okay, I saw a couple hands that did go up while we were speaking, but they've gone down now. So I'll assume that you are no longer interested in speaking. So I'm just doing one last call out. And if that's the case, then
Can I just ask one more question?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Rhonda.
It might be useful, Jesse, if we could just do a maybe a data inventory table so that we had kind of a master list of all the data sources that we have. And then it'll give me a little bit better picture of what is missing and what we still need that the county may be able to contribute to or may not, but we could see the gaps in what we have that we can add. if we could do that on the side, that would be helpful for me.
Thank you. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and I did see Harry Freitas, your hand went up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I do think that there is an opportunity, hopefully in a subcommittee, to discuss our method of collecting data and the types of law enforcement that do traffic enforcement on county roads. It is commonly it's commonly thought that the sheriff does that, and in fact, it's the California Highway Patrol. And there are definitely, we've been working really hard on a countywide database that your staff, excuse me, the DOT staff is familiar with, so that there would be a central clearinghouse for the data associated with crashes, all crashes. And law enforcement's participation in that, including the CHP, the county sheriff, and all of the, I know that this is specifically focused on San Jose, but all of the law enforcement agencies in Santa Clara County, we've been working hard to get them on a, with the VTA. Let me add, with the VTA, we've been working hard to get them on a common database. And that is something that we would like to flag for our subcommittee. Thank you.
Thank you. That is very helpful, and certainly I think that would be beneficial to everyone, right? If we were on a similar database in that way, or the same, and be able to share obviously much more easily. Okay, no other hands are up. We have the second portion of this presentation, which is item B, which is our 2020 action plan.
Thank you. So in this part, I just want to mention, and for people or members of the public, we're going to get to public questions at the end. But so in this second part of the presentation, we're reporting for about 10 minutes on the 2020 action plan, the 6 priority action areas, and sort of where we are. So we passed the Vision Zero action plan in February, and in these 6 areas, we're going to give some quick updates. First off, I would like to bring everyone's attention to our website, which is in the bottom left of every slide. And so at visionzerosj.org, we have data tools, which we released for the first time last year. And they have all of our crash data, you know, obviously in parentheses, the data that we get from the San Jose Police Department from 2015 to 2019, which are the last full 5 data years. So you can see, anyone can see the data that we have about any location. And I won't really demo this, but you know, I sort of encourage everyone who's watching to go try out the tool. We have 2 versions of it. So basically there's 2 different systems where you can manipulate it. One is the Microsoft product called Power BI, which you'll find on our website. And I believe we have the link up to the other one also, which is the ArcGIS version, but if not, we will make it clearer on our website. And using them, you can manipulate this map. However, there's two other things that I want to just mention as well. Our priority safety corridors, otherwise known as our Vision Zero corridors, there are 17 of them. The ones that are in blue are under city jurisdiction, and the ones that are shown in the yellow color are under county jurisdiction. And this is also on our website, and you can also you know, go see exactly which segments of which streets are considered to be Vision Zero corridors. As well as the action plan itself, which is a attachment to this meeting, is also on the website, and also our most recent council memo, which is the June 30th one, which is a summary of our 2019 data. But what I wanted to say is that we are working with, we're working to bring on a data consultant, which I've mentioned before, and so that's through an RFP process. And it is not finalized yet, but it hopefully will be finalized soon. And so that consultant will enable us to do the sort of higher level data analysis and insights that's beyond what the people on the staff here are able to do. But actually with the staff here, we've done really great things. So that's been quite exciting. I wanted to touch on some of our data projects that are beyond those. So I mentioned before that we're working on near miss technology. This is through a partnership with Verizon. And it is not yet complete, but we have been building this tool with them. So you can see here the way that this works on the right side of this slide is that Verizon has posted 4 cameras on top of this intersection, and this is one of 3 intersections that are in this pilot project. And they use the site of the camera to develop heat maps where we can see where near misses are happening physically on the left side in the image of this intersection. So you can see in the areas that are red or white, those are where the near misses occur on this particular intersection. And this is just an example of the type of data analytics work that we have in development. And so I'm going to move on to some of the other areas. Form a Vision Zero Task Force. Thank you everyone for joining us. That's number 2. So we're glad to have this begun, albeit a little later than we had intended to start it. And for our next one, which is strategized traffic enforcement, I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Chief Randall from the Police Department.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm going to just quickly go over some of our strategies and our staffing that we have. For those of you not familiar with our traffic enforcement unit, we have 16 total positions currently filled. We have a lieutenant, we have an enforcement sergeant, 11 enforcement officers, and then we have 1 set sergeant, and the set is the special events team, and then 2 set officers. And so that is our traffic enforcement unit. We know that it used to be much larger, but we are working our way to build that unit back up. Primarily what we're doing, what I mentioned earlier, is that enforcement and then also the education and outreach. We do know that the top 5 violations are speeding, red light, the pedestrian failure to yield to a car, unsafe turning movements, and vehicle failing to yield to pedestrians. And so with that information, our traffic enforcement unit does go out and try to enforce those particular violations. They spend about 80 to 90% of their time in those Vision Zero safety corridors. So we do focus on those areas. During the fiscal year of 19 to 20, they issued 7,928 citations. During Q3 and Q4, we had 2,500, a little over 2,500 warnings issued. The reason why we mention that is obviously with the pandemic, we had to alter our method and how we were approaching those traffic enforcement stops. It's a very high touch interaction. And so we were issuing more warnings and really mixing in that educational piece for that traffic enforcement. But what it allowed us to do was actually increase the amount of enforcement stops that we did. So we use that to our advantage. We are now starting to shift back to more of an enforcement approach as we figure out protocols to issue citations safely for our officers. You know, we do monitor some of the trends that we see. We did see an increase in bicycle fatalities. So our officers went out, our traffic enforcement unit issued during a year period, March 2019 to March 2020, they issued 284 citations for motorists driving in the bicycle lane. So we do try to focus on those things and look for spikes and trends that are occurring out in our roadways. We also, as Jesse mentioned before, we did partner with DOT for the Fight the Spike campaign. And we did notice a spike during that daylight savings change, and drivers aren't used to driving with that different type of lighting. And so traffic enforcement will go out and conduct enforcement during those hours to try and reduce collisions and try to maintain safety on the roadways. So in essence, that is an overview of what we're doing, and moving forward, we look forward to more partnering and working with the task force to keep those fatalities down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll just continue working down this list. In the area of increasing community outreach and engagement, I just want to touch a little bit on some of our recent initiatives. This is before the task force, or sorry, before the action plan. We have done our walk-in roll traffic safety education work with San Jose schools since 2012. That program began in 2012 and now serves about 55 schools, but is looking to continue to expand. There are about 250 schools in San Jose. We did a banner campaign, which is shown below. We brought this from San Francisco, and this is the Drive Slow Seniors Crossing that can be found primarily on streetlight poles, but also was for some time and may still be up on some VTA properties. There's also work that we do in these 3 years. We have been lucky to get competitive grants from the Office of Traffic Safety, which is a California State Department, to do outreach. So in 1 year, it included these Drive Slow Seniors Crossing signs that were on streetlights. But in the current year, which is just about to end, the focus has been on outreach to older adults. Which of course has been quite complicated by the pandemic. But our consultant for that is California Walks. And then for next year's grant, the outreach is more broadly to adults, because we really wanted to acknowledge that the median age was not, strictly speaking, just people over the age of 65. The median ages of the people that we want to reach out to are actually in their 50s. So for that one, we haven't yet picked the consultant that'll work on that outreach. But the major item for outreach that is mentioned very specifically in the Vision Zero action plan is the RFP for the comprehensive outreach strategy. And that RFP is, we've been editing it for a long time. It's very soon to go out the door. So we're really excited to be working to bring on a consultant to work on that. We did do some outreach that was specific, or actually we had a few sort of responses to the pandemic. And these are not all outreach strictly speaking, but some of them are. So one of the things that we did at the beginning of the pandemic was to disable signal coordination, because we've been concerned, similar to other cities during the pandemic, that fatality numbers have not gone down and speeds have gone up because there's less congestion. Congestion is one of the things that keeps vehicle speeds at the speeds that we assume people to be going. So with less of it, one of the things that we did was disable signal coordination on some corridors, although over time some of them have been brought back. Another thing we did was automate the pedestrian phase at 100 signals downtown. And we put up a sign similar to what you see on the left here. And that was so that people wouldn't have to touch common surfaces to get a walk signal. And another thing we did was create a speed safety marketing campaign, which includes slow down, save lives, and 20 is plenty. So you can see that here on the back of a VTA bus. And also in yard signs, similar to the one that's behind my head here and on this slide. So this is in 3 languages, and we've already printed it a second time. It's been quite popular. So moving over to implementing quick build data-driven safety improvements. That is one of the biggest areas of the action plan. We're working on the first project, the first major corridor project, which is Center Road, primarily in District 7, Fruitdale, which is in District 6. There is a project in the Guadalupe, Washington neighborhood, which is at 3 intersections. We have received a grant from the Transportation Fund for Clean Air on Hillsdale. We recently learned that, I think just a few days ago, although it has yet to be fully publicly announced, but it will be announced on October 1st, that we've received a grant from the Active Transportation Program of State of California Pilot Quick Build program. And that will be near the schools, the Sylvandale Middle School and the Edenvale Elementary School, those are in districts 2 and 7. And also we have some work underway on improvements to Branham Lane. And so we're also beginning to work on how to pick the projects for the coming years. And we were interested to leverage opportunities in the Better Bike Plan and also in the pavement program. So those are most of the updates. And we're, just within the last one, prioritizing resources on high KSI corridors and districts. Most of the projects I just mentioned are on actual Vision Zero corridors. So we're also trying to prioritize our work within the high KSI districts that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. But they are just, again, 7, 3, 5, and 6. So at this point, I'm going to hand it back over to Councilmember Perales to take questions on this part of the presentation from task force members.
Thank you very much. And we'll invite our task force member colleagues to raise your hand to speak on this second part of the presentation. And if we don't get anybody to chime in at the moment, then I will hop over to the public, and then we can come back to the task force. In the public, our attendees can speak on either part of the presentation, obviously, for the part A or part B, or any other information like you'd like to add in.
Councilmember Perales, sorry, I'm not able to see the raise hand function on my screen, but I have a couple questions, if that's okay.
No worries. Yeah, please. And if anybody else is having trouble locating the raise hand function, feel free to just jump in like Nikita did. I also can't see everybody's picture unless I scroll through a couple screens. So if you're waving at me or something, I might not catch that either. So just feel free, if you're on the task force, to just jump in. So Nikita, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Jesse. So 2 questions. One is on the enforcement side of this action plan. So I know Vision Zero Network and Safe Routes Partnership, which do really good Vision Zero and Safe Routes to School, or just Safe Routes in general, work nationwide, have begun to move away from traditional enforcement as part of the Vision Zero model. So I wanted to ask if there's any information on how San Jose is working to meet some of those new practices, or considering those new standards as well.
Is that a question for me, or would you like to answer that, Jesse?
I think we could both answer. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So, of course, our traffic enforcement unit in our department is open to working with the task force. And if there is an approach that we need to shift to, primarily our function at the police department is the enforcement of traffic violations, combined with the education and outreach. So we're open to discussion about what would be best moving forward with the task force.
Thank you for that. I'm happy to defer to your answer. So that is good. I also just say that we're very aware of the interest in the greater field, and so we're interested to keep up with what other cities are doing, and we and just to sort of keep aware of all of those things happening.
Thank you. Looking forward to hearing more about that also as we learn from other cities as well, because I know this is still very new. And then my other question was more for clarification. Jesse, you mentioned the quick build projects on Center, Fruitdale, and Washington, as well as a couple others that you specified were grant funded. The Center, Fruitdale, and Washington projects, are those funded through the quick build piece of the $6.78 million that was allocated in February?
Yes.
Okay, and can you go into a little bit on how those were prioritized as the first projects to be started through Quick Build?
So some of my coworkers may jump in as well, but oh, sorry, I just got a clarification that Guadalupe, Washington was not funded through Quick Build. The Center Road project was underway as we began this, and I'm sorry that you may hear some background noise from me, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we had a planning project underway on Center Road, and as you know, it is in the district that has the most KSI. So it was very well timed that we had community outreach that was already underway, and we had a plan and development that was already underway at the precise moment that this started. So that speaks primarily to how Center Road, and then Fruitdale was in the pavement plan, and it is also in the bike plan. So it overlaps well that we are able to leverage those programs and basically with the other ones, other grant programs. So I hope that answers your question about those projects. And so we're also working on how we can figure out, what the best way to leverage opportunities are going forward. So we're working with other groups as well as the pavement plan on their future plans.
Thank you.
Okay, and Lauren?
Hi, thank you. I wanted to just be sure to thank San Jose for taking leadership on this effort. It's a really, really important thing. You're the largest city in the county, half the population. And I think with your leadership, we can, and with our collaboration, we can try to bring this to more cities in the county. I also wanted to mention on the transit side, not only are we focused on making sure our operators are driving safely and operating the light rail safely, and we're also very interested in making sure our customers, when they're walking on city streets to the bus stops, to light rail stations, can walk there safely. And when you look at where most of our transit passengers are riding, it overlaps with the high KSI corridors and the high KSI districts that this plan is prioritizing. So we really, really support the work that you're doing, and we'll work closely with you to help continue to support it.
Great, thank you. And okay, I'm not seeing other hands, and nobody else jumping out. Oh, John from the Bike Coalition.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment that we appreciate all the focus on data, excuse me, but we'd like to have more visibility sooner into when and how people are being killed from the police department. For example, we just had another person using a bicycle killed on White Road last Sunday night. And it's very frustrating to have a long, long time before we have any information we can share with the community about those kinds of collisions and fatalities. So any efforts we can do to make data visible sooner would be appreciated. Thank you. Sorry, that was a comment, not a question.
No worries. We appreciate the comment as well.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Reagan.
Jesse, does your most recent OTS grant, the 2021, include specific outreach to the unsheltered?
That is a great question.
I thought I had read that in your June info memo, which was a great memo, by the way.
Thank you. So when we wrote that grant in January, we wrote it as specifically including that population. And when we were just about to publish the June 30th memo, we had just gotten the note from OTS that we've been awarded that grant. So we presumed it included that. But as it turns out, they didn't include that because they, under their definition, don't include outreach to that group to be a proven countermeasure. So we have a very well pre-developed concept of what that outreach campaign could be. And it would be really great to include it under our other outreach work. So I have basically determined that the way to run that is to have an outreach consultant figure out where to do, like basically on what media to do the outreach, because I think that it wouldn't be the same, you know, it wouldn't be on Facebook, for example. It would be, you know, in very particular locations that population sees. And so we probably would work with a, you know, a nonprofit that works with the city already, that works with that population in the specific locations that we know that those fatalities are occurring, thanks to the data that we have for the medical examiner coroner, because they they can tell us through a very specific definition which basically like which of the fatalities they've determined to be people experiencing homelessness. So we do know specifically where they are and we have mapped them. So I think when we have the funding to make that happen, we'll sort of know how to do it. But the thing that was really sort of neat in putting together the research for that is that no other city's really done it yet. So to the effect of, you know, that OTS was not clear about funding an unproven countermeasure, we would be basically at the forefront of that particular type of outreach if we do this.
Councilmember Perales, this is Fred Buzo.
Oh, hi, Fred. Sorry, I didn't notice you joined. I would have told you to.
Well, I joined and then, you know, had some technical difficulties and then had to rejoin, and you know how that goes, right?
Oh, I thought I had seen your face initially. That's why I was looking for you in the beginning. Okay, please, yeah, go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, just on the subject of outreach, just wanted to make folks, and I know people are already aware of this, but you know, as a representative of AARP, you know, given how serious this virus has been, and with the older adult community, I mean, in the foreseeable future, I mean, the only outreach we would be able to help with is virtual, or you know, organizing virtual events and things like that, which is unfortunate, but you know, we really don't know when we're going to be able to go out and promote in-person events. And so I almost feel like we're gonna have to do like sort of a plan A and plan B in terms of outreach, a virtual outreach and in-person outreach. Maybe that's how it was going to be in the first place, but yeah, I just want to make sure. And we are learning as we go along. As Jesse said, you know, this pandemic really threw a wrench into a lot of our plans in terms of engagement. But yeah, we are learning, and I will make sure to report back as to what we're finding works best in getting older adults engaged virtually, because some folks really don't care for it. So they just don't want to participate. Others love it. You know, they see it as something new and they want to learn, but we'll all be learning as we go along.
Can I ask a follow-up question to Fred? Fred?
Sure.
Is there a way we can do an ad in AARP magazine or something like that, or provide some kind of insert?
You could
there's a huge
probably,
reach for the
well,
publication.
AARP has two monthly publications. One is the magazine, and then one is the bulletin. The bulletin is almost the one that looks like, and I'm going to date myself here, the bulletin is the one that looks like the old Parade magazine that would come in the newspapers on Sundays. It's easier to get something in the bulletin. Now the magazine is much more read, but yeah, then we've got to go through some other, like jump through like 10 hoops just to get something in there. But it's possible, Sal. It's possible.
And
Okay.
maybe this could be, I'm sorry, just maybe this could be a larger sort of national effort under either NACDO or Vision Zero to get it into,
Yeah.
you know, to really push
yeah,
AARP
certainly.
to really pick this up.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we will go ahead and transition over to our public comment. And at this time, I will invite our members of the public to speak on any of the items. And for those that have not participated on Zoom before, you'll have to look for the raise hand button on your toolbar. It does change depending on what type of device you're using, a phone, a tablet, a laptop. And as Nikita pointed out, it's even challenging for those of us here to locate it at times. And you'll click on that. And then if you're dialing in, or if you find it easier, and if you can't find the button, then you can call in and then hit *9 to be able to speak. And our staff will instruct you to unmute yourself, and you will have 2 minutes to be able to speak. You see the timer up there. Okay, and now I'll turn it over to Lam Cruz from DOT.
Great, thanks, Councilmember Perales. In addition to the forum, you guys can also submit comments and any sort of comments and questions to Anna Lay. We'll have her contact information at the end of this webinar. So the first, just a reminder, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. If you're calling in, please use *6. I'll be calling in, or I'll be using the last 3 digits if you're calling in from a phone. So 140, please unmute yourself.
Hi, and you're going to have to start with making the roads safer before you start anything else, and the sidewalks. You're worried about people crossing the street. What about walking down the sidewalks with a raised sidewalk? You got roads with potholes. In District 9, hey, Pam Foley, if you're listening, District 9 has got plenty of really bad roads that need to be repaired. And so does Deb Davis. She's not there today. She's got some bad ones too. But you're going to have, this city has to start with roads and sidewalks before you can start with this Vision Zero, which, by the way, there's no such thing as zero. It's the communists like to use zero, like, you know, year zero. There's no such thing. And you're not going to be able to get the people getting hit by cars who are drunk all the time. You need to close the liquor stores, stop selling alcohol. Most of these people are stew bums who can't cross the street properly. I almost hit a guy a few weeks ago because he just darted out in the middle of traffic. And the people on bicycles, they're no better. These guys aren't drunk. They're just daredevils on their 10 speeds. They don't pay taxes on gas or cars or registration or any of that on that bicycle, but I do in my car. Why do I have to slow down and do all these things for people whose hands aren't clean to begin with? The pedestrian who's a drunk bum does not have the right of way, nor does somebody on a bicycle. They have to obey the rules just like people who drive. What's their fine? And by the way, San Jose PD, you guys can't do anything. There's nothing you guys can do. Is try to bust people for driving 10 miles over the speed limit. You should be ashamed of yourself. Anybody in traffic enforcement is a loser. You're the bottom feeder of the department, and you should be ashamed of yourself for giving people tickets. It's disgusting. Meanwhile, we've got crime and stolen cars going on all over the city, and you guys are worried about crosswalks and who's getting hit by cars. Everybody on that committee who's taken 2 hours of my time windbagging, you guys should all be ashamed of yourself and go back to zero. Yeah, I just said zero. And start with the sidewalk and the roads. Those are what the problem is. And by
Thank
the way,
you.
the all around the Rose Garden.
Thank you. I know we had an
sidewalks
issue with the timer, but thank you. Your 2 minutes are up.
Great, thanks. Gina, please unmute yourself.
Hi, that's a little hard to follow for me. Okay, so good morning, and my name is Gina LeBlanc. Can everyone hear me? Am I heard?
Yes,
Oh,
we can
okay.
hear you.
So I'm a bereaved mother, and my 18-year-old son Kyle was killed in a pedestrian crash in 2016 at Kirtner Avenue and 87 near the Kirtner Light Rail Station. 11 months after his crash, another pedestrian was killed there, and some of you have heard me speak about Kyle. He was an amazing young man, an inventor, and a techie, and missed every minute of every day. I'm also a member of San Francisco Bay Area Families for Safe Streets. I speak out to hopefully prevent another mother from feeling the pain that I feel and knowing that their child's death was preventable. I've read through the documents attached for this meeting, and I sadly see that we are on track for another horrible year of traffic fatalities similar to last year's numbers. I also noticed that on the chart breaking down traffic fatalities, that 7 out of the 13 pedestrian deaths are outside of the Vision Zero corridors. Most notably for me personally is that yet another pedestrian was killed on Kirtner Avenue at Canoas Garden in the same block where my son and others have been killed and where there are 4 VTA stops, bus and light rail. There really needs to be a sense of urgency to prevent fatalities so close to public transit, which is accessed by pedestrians and bicyclists. I also want to call your attention to Kirtner Avenue itself. Every year we hear about more fatalities on Kirtner Avenue. It is not one of the Vision Zero corridors, but it is a key, long, wide artery traveling across the entire city of San Jose from west to east, districts 6 and 7, and then 8, where it becomes Tully Road, which is a Vision Zero corridor. I went on Google Maps, gathered my own data on this long road, and on Kirtner Avenue of note, there are 5 schools, 6 churches, 3 shopping centers, 1 movie theater, 2 parks, 1 senior center, 1 community garden, 1 cemetery, 52 VTA bus stops, and 1 VTA light rail station, all before Kirtner becomes Tully. It has many pedestrians and bicyclists. As a Vision Zero task force, please look closer at what can be done on Kirtner Avenue to prevent more deaths like my son's and to make access to public transit safer as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina, and thank you for always continuing to participate with us. As a reminder to all of us as well, the real faces, names and people that we're talking about here. So appreciate that.
So next I have Blair Beekman. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. The intentions of this meeting should be to talk about the future of pedestrians, bicycles, and organic neighborhood design and safety. I'm hoping we can return to our more familiar routines in the next few years. I'm also hoping of how a new era and language of peace, equity, demilitarization, and reimagining will also be developing. I feel we simply have to start to consider how open, responsible public policies must always walk hand in hand with the future of technology, surveillance, and data collection, and with Vision Zero. Everyday people and local government can better work together at the local level towards more open democratic practices at this time. These are the ideas of how each city can work to develop the ideas of community harmony, openness, peace, responsibility, and long-term sustainability. These shared good practices can then collectively ask at the national level how the ideas of open, good-minded democratic practices can address continual war and its shock doctrine practices. Notice the beginnings of these sorts of words at the UN General Assembly this year and what can possibly be developing in the next year. To conclude, a good luck in how Vision Zero San Jose can continue to rely on and develop the groundbreaking work of Guadalajara, Mexico, and that I feel focuses on the community experience more than law enforcement and technology, goals that were well respected when Vision Zero first started in San Jose 5 years ago, and interestingly at the same time, more open, accountable public policy ideas with tech and surveillance also started. I have 30 seconds left. That's great. In what was talked about today and what was some of the same issues as this time last year, you're developing new ways to talk about KSI statistics. And I hope we can learn to make that clear with each other, that you're working a different statistical system. So it appears that you have the same number of fatalities each year as this past year as compared to the past 5 years. But in fact, it may be, 15, the number 15 lower. In using the old statistics. I hope we can work on this issue. Thank you.
Thanks, Blair.
Great, thanks. I have Rosalinda Aguilar. I'm going to mute you. Rosalinda, you'll have to unmute yourself. Rosalinda? We can come back to you. It looks like you're still connecting. Next, I have Robin Romer. I'm going to mute you. Please unmute yourself.
Hi. Go ahead. Hi. Thank you so much for coming together to tackle this important issue. I wanted to offer a few comments on what you discussed today. So first, although data and outreach are obviously important, we also know that changes to the physical infrastructure is what makes the biggest difference in reducing speeds and keeping people safe. So I'm a little bit disappointed that infrastructure doesn't feature more prominently in the first year of the work plan. And I agree with Gina about the urgency we need in this debate. Second, there can be such a thing as too much data, and then it can become a distraction, and I worry about that. That we, like every quarter, look at different data and lose track of the bigger picture. For example, in the previous years, San Jose DOT had always highlighted that there had been no traffic fatalities of children under 16, which was great for a number of years. Unfortunately, last year we had 2 toddlers die, and now that doesn't feature as prominently in the reports as the other numbers, as the 0 did in previous years. So we need to be clear about what is the data that we definitely need, and at what point does it become more of a nice to have. And third, I'm always a little bit concerned when I hear in the fatalities report that pedestrians fail to yield to a driver, which is typically based on the report of the surviving person, the driver. So I worry about how often that is filtered through the lens of the car driver, and the driver typically, unlike the first speaker said, does have a responsibility to yield to pedestrians unless they really jump out into the street. So I can see how that might be coded that way, but I worry that that is probably not accurate. Similar when police reports that a person wasn't in a marked crosswalk, which is not really important for safety information. Yeah, but thank you so much for your work. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you. Next, I have Nanny J. Lavin. I'm going to mute you. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, good morning. This is Nani Lavin, and as everyone knows, my husband was the victim number 42 last July 5th. My concerns still hold true to the traffic enforcement units. I believe in February when I spoke, we were talking of increasing your unit up to 28 people, and today I'm only told you have 16. This really truly bothers me because we need to have people out there just to help. I get it that the hours and so forth, but I just finished my sentence hearing for the killer of Bob yesterday, and we do need to catch people, and there's not enough time for everybody to do the complete work needed that I could have gotten a better result of sentencing of the driver. So I do really want you guys to keep your word in Vision Zero that we will increase our force, because as it said, Jesse's numbers show, we have 10 officers for 100,000 people. That's not enough to keep us safe. And I also want to thank Raul for mentioning the question I had on Jesse's slides, is there was no data showing the ages of the people committing these terrible things. So thank you very much for bringing that, because those people need to be educated. not us poor little old people who are trying to cross the street or ride our bikes safely. Bob was out in the middle of the day. The guy was speeding on an opioid. I'm a widow now, so I'm part of this, and I'm going to try and make sure the police get their money. End of statement.
Thank you very much, Nani, and appreciate you joining us as well. Thank you.
I'm going to try Rosalinda again. Rosalinda Aguilar, please unmute yourself. We're not getting audio, so Rosalinda, we're going to provide Anna Lay's email. So if you have any comments or questions, feel free to email us. Thank you. Kicking it back to the council member.
Thank you, Lam. And sorry, Rosalinda, yeah, I think you were unable to unmute yourself, but we can't hear you. So there's an issue with the audio there. Thank you, Lam. Okay, we are now going to go ahead and wrap this up, and we're just on time. I want to thank everybody for being here with us today and engaging in a discussion that will begin to make our streets safer. Really appreciate all the participation. Our next meeting is going to be on December 10th, starting at 10 a.m. And all attendees are going to be given a short survey following today's meeting. If you can please fill that out, that would be much appreciated. And once again, thank you. Please stay safe. This meeting is adjourned.